Hey everyone, welcome to Idiot. Welcome. You're not an idiot. The idiot's me. I'm here with Ingrid Newkirk, president and founder of PETA. What is PETA?
People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals.
Why is it so controversial?
Well, there are a lot of people who exploit animals, consciously or not. I mean, a lot of people, not of big businesses, like the circus and animal experimentation. The people who sell food to the labs, for example, or decapitators. And then you've got the furriers, the people who make leather, the meat trade, chicken farmers. So, of course, they all hate us. And we strike a nerve. But then there are people who are eating meat, they're consuming dairy, they're buying things that come off animals' backs, and they get their back up a bit when we say, look, there's something else you can do. Let us show you how cruelly these things are produced, and then give you options. And I think it's a human nature to say, I don't want to change. Change is a really frightening thing. So that is why people are a little bit nervous about us. And they shouldn't be, because we're all about being positive and having a kinder world. It's all about kindness.
Yes. Yeah. That's okay. I know
Now,
you're vegan, but have you ever killed a mosquito?
probably.
Okay, because I'm about to. There's a mosquito
I
running
don't
loose.
believe you.
You don't believe me?
What if it were a bee? Would you kill it
No.
if it were a bee? No.
No.
Insects
But
can be
mosquitoes, they
smart.
eat me. They love me. They love the way I taste. Do they like you?
Yeah, I'm very prone to being bitten by insects.
And what do? You just sit there, let it eat you?
No, I try
Enjoy your food, mosquito, I love you. Come home with me.
Mosquitoes don't like human beings. They're very clever. You know, they have invented Zeta and all these other things to try and catch us out. And
Yes.
ticks don't like us either.
Then why are they eating us?
I don't know, except that they were built to have blood. So they're like sort of carnivorous insects. And so they're not our friends. But if you're going to kill any living being, it has to be quick. I mean, you don't want to torture anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I don't kill bugs. I don't kill spiders. Certainly not bees. Mosquitoes are the one that just, because I feel like it's self-defense, honestly. They're coming for me.
Like a man with a knife.
Yes, exactly. Making me bleed and everything.
I would not criticize you for doing that.
Really?
But yes, because we have bug catchers, you know, for if you've got ants in your house. And we've got things that will deter insects so that will want to go away and have a little think somewhere else. They don't like to be in your house. But mosquitoes are very difficult to come to grips with. I appreciate that. But a chicken or a monkey or a dog or a cow, I mean, they're not attacking you.
No.
And why we pick on them without thinking about it is beyond me.
So have you always been an animal lover?
Yeah, I think I was born that way. I came into a house with a dog who was there before me. And we grew up basically as brother and sister. You know, he slept in my bed, I slept in his dog basket. We rolled down the hill together. We got car sick at the same time if we were going somewhere. He really was like a brother to me. And if anybody had hurt him, I would have been just beside myself.
Yes, yeah. And so when did you become vegan? What was there a moment where it clicked for you, or?
I was a slow learner.
Yeah.
And even though I loved this dog because we were together all the time, I was brought up by my parents to eat animals.
Same.
Had a fur hat that I thought was fabulous. Just was very proud, thought I looked fabulous in this hat. Always wore leather, thought that cosmetics had to be tested on animals for our safety. I was oblivious, which I think is what a lot of people are. And then, yes, I had a whole series of experiences. I bought some snails in a live market, an Italian market. They were alive, put them in a plastic bag, was taking them home to cook them. I can't cook for anything, but they said it's very easy. You get a little bit of wine, you get some garlic, you soak them overnight. I thought, I can do that. I was going home and I got this feeling I was being looked at, I was being watched. And I turned over, and on the passenger seat where I had put the bag of snails all of them had come up to the lip of the bag and were looking at me. So I thought, okay, I can't kill you. So I let them go at the bottom of the garden, probably broke a federal law. But it was just the beginning. I thought, that's the end of snails. And I had another experience with lobsters. I had an experience with a pig who was abandoned on a farm. They left him behind and he was starving. And that night, I'd taken him to the vet. And I was thinking, yes, I've got pork chops. And then it suddenly hit me. And I thought, hang on a minute.
Hold on.
I'm going to prosecute these people
Yeah.
for cruelty. And yet, what's a slaughterhouse? What slaughterhouse? I'm paying somebody to be equally cruel to a little pig whose bits and pieces I'm going to have for dinner. And I thought, well, I can't do that anymore. So I think it's just a question of having experiences, learning something, and thinking. Not just doing what you're taught to do when you're growing up, but think for yourself. Do I want to do this or not?
Yes. Yeah. And so many people are just conditioned to like, this is the way it is. This is the way I brought up. And you're right. There's not a lot of thinking, but, and it's just, honestly, it's so normalized. Like, cause I have the love, I've been vegan for, I want to say 12 years at this point, but like all of my friends are not vegan and they're lovely. Well, okay, maybe I have one or two, but the majority, vast majority of my friends are not. And they're lovely people, lovely, kind, great mothers, friends, daughters, just lovely people who wouldn't hurt a fly.
Well, I mean, this species is supposed to be the thinking animal, and I think that's the grossest exaggeration I've ever heard, because most people don't think. There's a wonderful thing that happened in upstate New York that I never forget, of a father and a son who were out on the ice. They were hunting deer, and they were going across this frozen lake, and they came across a deer who had fallen down. A doe lying on the ice. She couldn't get up. Her hooves wouldn't allow her traction on the ice. And they didn't know what to do because there she was right in front of them. So it would be unsporting to shoot her while she's there at your feet. So they thought about this, and the son, who was probably about 20, said he was afraid to touch her because he thought she might bite. This is how oblivious they are. But anyway, bless their hearts, they went and got some sort of rope from the truck, and they got her, they moved her across the ice gently, they got her up onto the bank, and the son said she licked his hand, and he could never hunt again. But he hadn't thought about who a deer is until this experience, and few people are going to have such a life-changing experience. So they just carry on doing what they've always been told is okay to do, and it isn't okay to do that.
Right. And so what do you think it's going to take for people to be open to changing the way that they live and what they consume?
I think a part of it is generational, because you raise children to be vegan, then that's what they're used to. And I think back to the beginnings of the environmental movement, when kids told their parents, you need to recycle, you can't use hardwoods. They started to change us. And it's always the young, I think, who are leading. And there's so many young vegans today. And they're giving a bit of stick to other generations saying, what are you doing?
Definitely. Like, I'm met with, you make your kids be vegan. And I said, you make your kids eat meat?
Yeah, well, the thing about choice is that I let them choose. They're 8 years old.
Right.
If they wanted to, grow up to be rapists, would you say, well, you choose? No, you have to be a moral compass and do and it's also, of course, it's super healthy for the kids.
Yeah.
There are naysayers who say, oh, no, but people don't know what they're talking about when they say, they've never studied protein or this, that, and the other. If they studied it, they'd know that you could get no cholesterol, none of the bad things that are in meat and dairy, but all the good things you ever need from a vegan diet. And that's what you need to show your kids.
Well, it's funny because we were just talking before we started the podcast about protein and how everyone's suddenly concerned with our protein levels. And I was telling Ingrid that my ex got his blood work done and had been vegan for a long, long time. And the only thing wrong with it was that his protein levels were too high because we happened to eat a lot of lentils and hummus. And so it's just a myth that you cannot get protein from a plant-based diet.
Yeah, and my mother was anemic for years, and I finally convinced her to go vegan. So, you hear people say, well, you need milk, you have to have milk, you have to have dairy, yogurt or cheese, all these things which people get addicted to because they have something called casomorphines, which is related to morphine in them. So it's just a little trigger that says, oh, I want a bit more cheese. She was anemic until she got off dairy.
Wow.
Because green leafy vegetables have more calcium, more of the things that you need in them than dairy, which is not really an absorbable calcium in the first place.
Wow. It's funny, my experience with kind of like what woke me up was entirely different than yours. So for me, my friends had convinced me to do this thing called the Master Cleanser, which I actually don't recommend. It's very extreme and you're probably not getting all your nutrients. But essentially, it's supposed to cleanse your body and you drink nothing but water, lemon juice, cayenne pepper, and maple syrup for like 10 days straight. Again, don't recommend it. But I will say I lasted 7 days, of just drinking this all through the day and night. I know, it's dumb. But from that, on day 7, I remember, because I grew up like you, eating meat and dairy, and I thought that life was meant to be had with a stomachache. Like I just thought, because I couldn't tolerate lactose, I did not tolerate it. And I oftentimes just felt sick and tired and brain fog and all of that. And I didn't know why, right? And I just kept making myself sick with the food I was eating. Anyway, so on day 7, I remember I was driving on the west side. I was looking at the ocean and I just thought about it. I think my body was so cleansed of all the meat and dairy. It had finally left my system. And all of a sudden I felt this moment of clarity. And I remember sitting in the back seat, my friend was driving, and I just thought, the idea of eating a dead animal is so repulsive to me. I cannot imagine ever doing it again. And it wasn't even, and I'm ashamed to say, it wasn't necessarily animal rights. Like that came, that did come. It was more physical. It was like the idea of me eating a corpse is so disgusting to me.
Well, you see roadkill.
Yeah.
Why doesn't somebody stop? I mean, some people do.
Yeah.
In West Virginia, they've got a contest about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, people go, ooh. Well, why do you go, ooh, when you go to the supermarket and it's the same ground up muck that you saw there that was killed by a car? Died quicker, didn't know, didn't have to go through the slaughter process.
Yeah.
Doesn't have any antibiotics in it. If you're going to eat meat, eat roadkill.
Right.
If you absolutely have to. I'm not sure what this have to business is. A very man thing usually, as men get all caught up in the manliness of like trophy hunting, eating raw beef, all this kind of rubbish. But Jane Goodall had an experience just like yours.
Really?
She didn't do the cleanse thing. But she was.
But I do think that got my body, it got it out. Like you said,
Yes.
you can be addicted to cheese or whatever. It was all out. And so I was able to think clearly. And truly my body was craving carrots. The idea of a carrot did not disgust me. The idea of eating, moldy milk.
Rosemary's Baby. Do you remember when she was eating, she was craving, she was pregnant with the devil's baby, and she was craving raw meat, and the blood was dripping down.
Yes.
And you think, yes, there's something devilish or ugly or evil, or why would you want to have that in your body? We're not carnivores anyway. We don't have the teeth or the digestion for it.
So that's funny you say that, because of course it just comes up that I'm vegan. People always say, but we're carnivores. So can you...
Yeah, they need to take an Anthropology 101 lesson. I mean, Leakey was the father of anthropology. And if you look at the early humans, we have fingers. We don't have claws for tearing flesh. We have fingers for plucking. You look at our teeth, we don't have fangs. We don't tear, we grind. That's for plant matter. Our intestines are really all very wiggly. They go on for a long time. A true carnivore's intestines are very short and direct. Meat comes in, it's going to start rotting, decomposing right away. You want to get it out of your system. And that's what goes wrong with a lot of people who are eating meat, and it's rotting in their system, and they get all these diseases, which in part are caused by the fact that they can't eliminate meat as quickly as you would need to, and as quickly as a carnivore does. There are many more things. Even our perspiration system is not like a carnivore's. Carnivores hunt usually at night, and we're not nocturnal, although some people go clubbing a lot.
Yeah. I was in my 20s. So I already know that I'm going to be getting comments from people because you guys are a very controversial organization, and a lot of your campaigns have been, I don't know if radical is the right word, but certainly shocking, right?
Yep.
And that was a decision. But I want to know, just so we can clear some things up. One of the comments that I get under my videos was that PETA has the biggest kill shelter in the United States. Is that?
It's rubbish.
Okay.
Yeah, total rubbish. And it's interesting because this business was started by a conglomerate of people who, I shan't even give their name out because I don't like to have people look them up. But it's a conglomerate that Philip Morris was part of it, the Furriers were part of it, and Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey, when they used circuses, animals in circuses, were part of it. And they came up with what was a brilliant concept, this frat boy idea that none of us in the animal world ever want to kill an animal, especially a dog or a cat, even if people are eating them. So they decided to label us as the people who kill all these dogs and cats. We have one small shelter in Virginia that serves a huge impoverished area, and we offer free services. We have 4 mobile Winnebago-size sterilization clinics. So we prevent homelessness for thousands upon thousands of animals by free sterilization, free spay and neuter. But we also open our doors and we say, if you have an old or a sick animal, if you have an animal who's too aggressive, nobody wants them, you can come in free of charge, be with them, and we will put them to sleep. Because people in that area don't have the money, even when an animal has cancer, broken bones, to go to a veterinarian for that service. So we do that free of charge, and we publish our figures. And that, of course, is what allows people to say, oh, you're killing animals. No, we provide a free euthanasia service, and we will always let anyone come in. But more than that is we're preventing homelessness every single day by all our free sterilizations of dogs and cats for people who can't afford it.
Okay, I see. Oh, there it is. I'm not going to kill it. I'm not going to kill it.
That's all right.
I'm not going to kill it.
Do you know there's a study that's just out that bumblebees like to amuse themselves? They actually play. A researcher did this, I'm sorry to say, but they put little roundabouts, little wooden roundabouts, and bumblebees in these containers. And they said when the bumblebees are bored, they like to go on the roundabout.
Wait, a roundabout is a...
Oh, a carousel.
Okay.
Is it a carousel? Yes.
Yes, yeah, carousel.
Just
yes.
little wooden
Oh,
carousel.
they play.
I just heard about that.
I love that.
I mean, they play, they think. We all know about the waggle dance and the things that bees do, and they protect their hive. And ants have fungus gardens underground where they feed millions of other ants. They carefully cultivate these gardens. What we don't know is just extraordinary about animals. And size should probably not be the defining characteristic of whether or not you're kind or you're cruel. But there's no question with the animals we do know that we should just leave them alone.
And that's what speciesism is, right?
It is. It says, don't be a pompous human being who thinks that, oh, the sun rises and sets on the human species.
Yes.
Because we're not that clever sometimes. We can put a man on the moon and develop a nuclear bomb, but really, I'm not even sure we needed to do that. Most of us can't fix our car. Most of us can't figure out how an iPhone works. But we should be able to think how to relate to each other, our own species and all the other species too.
Wow. Is it true that you want your flesh to be barbecued when you die?
Absolutely. I want some of my flesh to be used as skin. I've got a little lizard tattoo here, and I want it cut off and made into a purse. And it'll be the first voluntary lizard skin purse that you could ever buy, so no problem with it. But yes,
Because you are consenting.
I am consenting.
Can I have the purse?
Possibly. You
Can I
have to
buy
pay for it so that you can give PETA a donation, yeah.
How much?
I don't know. What do you think?
I'll give you $200.
I want more than that.
More?
Yeah.
Really?
It's unique.
Okay, 500.
Maybe.
Maybe. Wait, can I have that purse? Can we get that in writing?
Possibly,
Okay,
yes.
Okay.
But I do want my flesh to be barbecued because we are all the same. You know, in Borneo, they call human beings the long pigs. They were really cannibals, so they really did eat flesh. And they, just as we say, oh, everything tastes like chicken, they said, well, human beings taste like pigs. Same kind of flesh, whole 9 yards.
Wow.
So I think if you smell my flesh cooking, I'll put some onions, some garlic, people will come over and then they'll think, what is it? And someone will say, it's her. And then they'll go, oh God, no. And the point will be made.
Of course. What do you think the most shocking campaign you've done in all your years? Because this was founded in 1980?
Yes, shocking is an interesting word
Yeah.
because what we show is the truth. And
Right.
people...
And the truth is shocking.
The truth is shocking. And people say, well, that's really wrong for you to show that. And you think, well, you're showing, say, a pig in a little apron dancing on the food truck. That is absurd. I mean, they're not... I've been in slaughterhouses for dogs, for chickens, for horses, for cows, and they're petrified. You know, their eyes are bugging out of their head. They can smell the adrenaline of the animals in front of them. They can smell the blood. They're not dancing and smiling, you know, on your food truck. Three Little Pigs Barbecue always does those kinds of things, of three little dancing pigs. And I think, don't tell us we're shocking because we're showing you what you don't want to see, but it's reality. And what we show is usually not the whole 9 yards of what's going on. And people couldn't hold their lunch down if we did. So we can only do bits and pieces. And most places won't allow us to show the reality of the slaughterhouse or the experimentation. I mean, their hearts would break if they could see monkeys with implants in their skulls who sit for 8 years in a cage, unable to do anything, go anywhere, nothing to do. I mean, you just try to sit for half a day in your bathtub and see if you can stand it. You couldn't.
Yeah.
So it's not really shocking. It should be shocking, but it's only shocking in the case that it's reality.
Okay. What got you the most flack?
I think what got us the most flack was Rudy Giuliani used to go to his news conference, and he must have been paid by the milk industry. He would chug a glass of milk.
Okay.
At the same time that he had prostate cancer, my father had prostate cancer. And I thought, and they're both heavy into dairy, and it's linked. So I thought, well, if I put my father on a billboard, nobody will know who he is. So we put Rudy Giuliani's picture with a milk mustache on a billboard and said, got prostate cancer. Because at that time, their milk business was got milk. That was their big slogan.
Yes.
So people said, how dare you mock Rudy Giuliani? Of course, today everybody mocks Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah.
But I went on a TV show, a national TV show, and both the hosts asked about this. I talked about mother cows being taken away from, the calves being taken away from them, how they mourn, all that sort of thing. I talked about the bad things in milk, like high cholesterol and hormones. And they listened to this. When I got off the set, unbeknownst to me, of course it aired, is they each took a glass of milk and drank it to mock what I had said. And I thought, one day, and now I know at least one of those two people won't touch dairy for their health reasons.
Really? Wow.
But it was news then, so at that point they were totally shocked that anyone would say anything bad about milk.
Yes, yes. This podcast is sponsored by AG1, y'all. AG1 is an amazing green supplement. I take it every single morning. It's packed with 75 different vitamins, minerals, whole source food ingredients. Y'all, it's completely vegan. It helps with gut health, energy, hair, nails, strengthens your immune system. It's all your vitamins and minerals all in one drink. You just take a scoop, put it in the cup, mix it around, squeeze a little lemon in there. I like to, and it tastes so good. If you order it through me, just go to drinkag1.com/idiot. Again, that's drinkag1.com/idiot, and you can get a year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs. Y'all, it's your nutritional insurance. I love it, and I know that you will too.
When I die, I'm going to have my legs cut off, and one of them I'm going to have made into an umbrella stand. This is because there's a reason behind this.
Okay.
I grew up, part of my childhood was spent in India, and we used to have an elephant's foot as an umbrella stand in the hall. And other people did too, the way people had ivory ornaments and tiger skin rugs. Those days have gone, but people forget that the way we treat animals today is acceptable to most people, and that was acceptable then. Times change. So I want to have my little leg umbrella stand to remind people that animals aren't ornaments, they're not amusements, they're not trinkets.
Yeah.
Leave them alone. The other leg I'm going to have broken and sent, luckily I'll be dead, won't feel it, go to Kentucky Derby, because every year dozens of horses break their legs during all these races, including the Kentucky Derby. Nobody does anything about it. And I'm thinking, if it was a human race, I mean, imagine a marathon of human beings and 14 people died because you couldn't do anything, they'd all broken their legs. You wouldn't have that race anymore. Horse racing needs to go.
May I have the umbrella stand too?
Depends how much you're going to donate to PETA.
Okay. Okay, I'll donate some big bucks.
You can't have my liver, though, because that's going to the president of France because of foie gras, where they force feed the ducks. And so I want them to have a reminder of that.
Wow.
And you can't have my ear because it's going to Canada. If they still have the baby seal killing on the ice, I want them to have this ear in their office. So I'll say, to hear the cries of the mother seals and the baby seals, things like that. But maybe the lizard skin purse.
Where else are your organs going? There's more.
There are more.
Heart?
Heart, a little bit of it's going to Elon Musk if he's still alive, not because I care about him at all, it's because I think that he's so inured to cruelty. You know, he's killed monkeys and pigs in this, to develop this brain implant. I mean, he's just doing unconscionable things to animals in his laboratory with these experiments. And we've talked to him about it. It even took a fight to get Tesla to have leather-free interior. So,
Tesla, ironically, is the only vegan car.
no, not anymore.
No, is that not true?
No, we're all right now.
Tell me.
There's the Nissan Leaf. And do you know, if you want a Ferrari, you can get an upgraded version of a Ferrari, upgraded, that has a vegan leather interior. So almost every car company now is switching over. Volkswagen has switched over, yeah. And Mercedes, you could always special order one. So the high-end cars, yes, and now the other cars are coming into line.
Wow.
Because it takes about 8 cow hides to make the interior of one car. You know, they want it just so. And when you look at the price of leather, leather is more expensive than meat for the value of the cow. So people say, well, I'm a vegetarian, but I still wear leather. And I think you're not a vegetarian then, because you are boosting, bolstering, pumping up the meat industry by buying leather. That's the biggest price of the cowhide, of the cow itself.
What else do you want people to know? Tell me more.
Well, I'd just like them to know that for every single cruel choice that they're making, probably inadvertently, but they need to think about their choices. If there's an animal involved, ask yourself, were they volunteers? Did they give you their life? Did they give you the hide on their back? Did they give you their wool? And if they're not volunteers, then it's cruel. And for every cruel thing, there's a compassionate choice. We live in a world of luxury. You can have every taste, every look. You can have every cosmetic. You can have anything you want. Wonderful new breakthroughs in laboratory science with organs on a chip. You have whole human DNA on the internet. Why on earth would we still be treating animals as if they're things when they're thinking, feeling individuals like ourselves who want joy, who want love, who want freedom? Like, there's a choice, make it.
Wow, that's really powerful. Any regrets?
Just a few, wasn't that a song?
Tell me.
I can't possibly, because everything that we do has some impact.
Yeah.
And so even when we do something and afterwards we think, should have done it another way, or, you know, there was a better idea, at least we did something. And it'll come back, you know, one kind deed, one good intention of trying to change something, video, everything is, it's all good. It's all good. Just do your best.
Very powerful, powerful stuff. Are you married?
I am not.
You're not married.
No, but I have a partner for many years.
Who's your partner?
I'm not telling because you might go and seduce him.
How'd you know my plan? How did you meet your partner?
You know, he was driving past a fur demonstration we were having. And there were 5 of us standing there with placards outside a fur store years ago. And he drove by and he thought, that looks pretty pathetic. And then just 5 of us standing outside. And then he's a good person. And he thought, well, it would look less pathetic if there were 6 people. So he parked his car and came and joined us.
And what were you doing there? Sorry.
Protesting outside a fur store.
A fur store. Okay.
A fur salon. Yeah.
Okay, I see. And so he just parked. He had never...
Nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you know why? He thought you were hot. He was like, damn, she's fine. What am I going to do? I got to protest.
Nobody looking at me today at 74 would think, one day she was hot. You know, you just don't anymore. The time has passed.
That's not true. That's not true. But that's what it was. He was
Nope.
like, I got to seal that deal. I guess I'm going to have to protest. So he parked the car. And because he had never done that before, right?
He'd never, and in fact,
Come
he was in
He
school,
wanted
they
to
had
get
protests against the Vietnam War, and he believed that the Vietnam War was wrong,
Yeah.
but he felt too embarrassed. He thought, I'm not going to be standing out there protesting.
But what made him protest that day?
I think we looked so pathetic.
Or you looked so damn good.
I'll remember that.
But so okay, but then what? So you guys started protesting, he introduced himself, what? Take me through the love story.
He was playing in a club. He plays guitar and sings. He was playing in a club, and so he invited us to go down and listen to him. And the next day, we were having, we were playing a sort of joke, well, it wasn't a joke, a serious joke, on the rodeo that was coming to the park near us. And we had printed up cards that said, nude mud wrestling free and free beer. And we were giving it out to people so that they would go to that, which didn't exist, instead of going to the rodeo. And I went down to the club, watched him play, and said, hey, would you like to come out with us? We're leafleting. We're going to bars and putting these leaflets out. And he said yes. And so then we got together.
Wow, just from that. Now, was he vegan when you met?
No, he was vegetarian. But immediately, when he came to the PETA meetings and he heard about the suffering of dairy cows and their calves, he said, I can't do this. He was vegan for health reasons and a vegetarian for health reasons and ethical reasons. But for ethical reasons, he became vegan.
Wow. And that was how many years ago?
34.
Wow. And is he like a big part of what you do?
He has his own career
Yeah.
and so on, but he's just highly ethical
Yeah.
and just a decent, kind person, and I love him to pieces.
Okay, I need some help with rebuttals because I get people, when I tell them I'm vegan, they say, one of the things they love to say is, well, plants have feelings too. What's a good rebuttal?
Plants may have feelings. I'm not sure they give a damn if they have feelings. It's just something to say to make themselves feel better about eating animals. But I would say if you care about plants, then you must never eat meat. Because you imagine 1 pound of cow flesh, of beef, takes 20 times the amount of plants that cow eats to convert into 1 pound of flesh, 6 times the amount of plant food to convert into a pound of chicken flesh. So if you love plants, don't want to eat meat. Eat the plants directly or become a fruitarian and just eat fruits that fall from the tree and nuts that fall from theirs.
I love that. Okay, how do you get your protein?
If you look outside, most people need to have less protein, not more.
Okay.
But, I mean, we're not a nation that's suffering from a protein deficiency, for God's sake.
B12.
Where people get this protein thing, I don't know, but there's ample protein in plant foods. B12, everyone should take a B12 because,
Yeah, tell me.
you know, B12 is made, it's in the soil. So if you're taking plant matter and you don't treat it with chemicals and all these kinds of things, but we do. We sanitize everything today. So meat eater, omnivore, vegan, vegetarian, you should try to take a B12 supplement because everything is sanitized and B12's gone.
So it's the sanitation process that extracts or gets rid of the B12?
It is because you're cleaning everything and over-cleaning everything. You used to get vegetables right out of the soil, but you know it's not yours for the taking. You have to leave it there.
Wow. And then what about adopting animals and why we should adopt and not shop?
We definitely should adopt, not shop, because the shelters are crammed to the seams with animals who have no chance of a home. And many shelters now, which call themselves no-kill, are closing their doors because they get full instantly. And then they don't want to euthanize, which one understands, but overpopulation is so huge that they just say we can't take them in. So in San Antonio, for example, the Animal Control Agency there says it's euthanasia by traffic because people are saying, no room at the inn, can't take you into the shelter, leaving you out to have other litters of puppies and kittens out there being hit by cars, being predated upon, getting sick and parasitized. Stop the pet shop business. Stop the breeders. They're just making money. Whereas if you have a place in your heart and your home, and you can take in a dog or a cat, take in 2 if you have the money and the time and the patience. They'll keep each other company when you're at work or you're somewhere else. But don't keep contributing to overpopulation. Go and solve it by taking animals out of the pound. Any pound, the municipal pound. What a wonderful thing. These open admission places need homes for these animals.
Is there anything else that you want to leave my audience with?
Oh, so many things.
So many? Okay, go. All of them, go.
I can't give you
Speed
all
round.
of them, but I think if you've got children, remember that or your grandparents, no dissection. We've got a synthetic frog they can use. They don't have to be taking frogs out of wild areas. Whatever you put on your back, on your shoes, however you shampoo your hair, whatever you eat, however you entertain yourself. You don't want the animal circus. Even Ringling gave up the animals, for goodness sake, after 30 years of our protests and lawsuits. I mean, there's nothing that you need to do. Honest to God, I've written a book called Animal Kind and a book called Save the Animals. And there are a million things that you can do that you might not even think about.
So get the book.
get the book or come to our website. It's free. You can download a vegan starter kit. You can download information about almost anything. Cruelty-free lists for clothing, for toiletries, for household products, ways to get rid of insects if they come into your home. Everything there's a humane solution for everything, and it's free. We do all the homework. All we ask is please consider it, and please be kind to animals, all of them.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
so
Lauren.
much, Ingrid. This was so
Lauren.
much fun. Do you want to sit on my... No.
Oh, maybe.
Just kidding. It was a joke from before. I'm not really wanting her to sit on my lap.
No.
It would be funny, though. But thank you. I really appreciate you coming out and answering all the questions and just educating. I learned new things, and I'm sure they will too. And if you guys have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments below, and maybe we do a part 2 next time you're back in LA.
Fantastic. Thank
Right?
you. I adored it. Just loved being here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I'm a fan.
I'm a fan of you. Okay, thank you so much.